the ratings are in for the Fever Brazil game. And surprise, surprise, they're impressive.
What happens when a rookie outdraws the NBA? When a preseason game eclipses playoff ratings? When one name, Caitlin Clark, sends shockwaves through an entire league? The WNBA is witnessing a seismic shift, and not everyone is clapping. Especially not Angel Reese. This is the spark that lit the fire.
Think that this is going to be the biggest WNBA season that we have ever seen when it comes to attendance, when it comes to viewership, when it comes to jersey sales, when it comes to merch sales. It's going to be the biggest that we have seen.
It was just supposed to be a preseason game. April 28th, Indiana Fever versus Brazil's national team. No playoff implications. No big name rivalry. Yet 1.34 million people tuned in and 1.6 million peeked in. Caitlin Clark didn't just debut. She detonated.
Fooled, like preseason games generally aren't like a big thing in most seasons, but I don't know, this is like the Showtime fever. Like,
while fans celebrated, others had different energy. Angel Reese, the face of LSU, national champion, and unapologetic queen of trash talk, didn't post a congratulatory tweet, didn't mention the historic moment. Instead, she went viral for her own cryptic response.
The game that was held at Iowa on Sunday. So the game averaged 1.3 million viewers. It peaked at 1.6 million, and this was up 13% over last year's regular season ESPN average for WNBA games. So of all WNBA games last year, this was up 13% the viewership for a preseason game.
This isn't the first time Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese found themselves on opposite sides of history. Their infamous NCAA championship clash in 2023 broke records and ignited controversy.
1.34 million people that tuned in to the Indiana Fever preseason before the season even started to play against an international team. I mean, the WNBA hadn't even cracked like 1 million viewers for like over 15 years until Caitlin Clark came to the league. I mean, this preseason game had more viewers than the last game of the finals of the last, WNBA finals last season. Like, it's kind of a little crazy, like the motion that this girl had.
Reese's "you can't see me" gesture became meme-worthy and drew both praise and backlash. The media narrative? Caitlin's a competitor. Angel? Too emotional. Double standards? You bet.
Only two NBA preseason games outrated this game. And that was in 2018, the Warriors versus the Lakers, when LeBron had his first game in LA, and that averaged 2 million viewers. And also in 2017, it was the Bulls versus the Cavs, and that was LeBron again after they had just lost in the finals, and that game averaged 1.37 million viewers.
So, why is Caitlin Clark getting the spotlight? Is it talent, marketability, or is it something deeper, something systemic?
Who thought that we would see the day where WNBA numbers were overtaking NBA numbers? And you guys, I predict that this is going to be something that happens for the entirety of the WNBA season, especially with this Indiana Fever team. This is motion, this is hype like we have never seen, and I thought it was going to be like this.
Even sports analysts are divided. Some say it's simply economics. Clark is the LeBron-level draw the league's been waiting for. Others say it's a dangerous narrowing of narratives in a league rich with talent.
That a minute. National Hockey League playoff ratings, a WNBA game, a preseason WNBA game, not only beat those ratings, destroyed them. I think the highest rated NHL game was roughly 430,000 viewers behind this game.
One thing's undeniable. Clark is changing the economics of women's basketball. In just one game, the Fever generated an estimated $10 million in ticket revenue. That's more than some franchises make all season.
But if you think about $10 million being generated in just ticket sales for one preseason game, think about the ticket sales, and the price of tickets are going to go up.
This isn't a fluke. This is a movement.
Back to the positives of the viewership. The 1.34 million people that tuned in to the Indiana Fever.
But let's not get it twisted. Angel Reese is no background character. She's a walking highlight reel, a brand builder, and a marketing juggernaut in her own right.
The WNBA hadn't even cracked like 1 million viewers for like over 15 years until Caitlin Clark came to the league. I mean, this preseason game had more viewers than the last game of the finals of the last, WNBA finals last season. Like, it's kind of a little crazy, like the emotion that this girl has.
And with a rookie season ahead, the drama's only heating up.
And I think we can pretty much expect that over 1 million viewers will be every single one of her games, like at least like baseline for the rest of the season.
Circle the date. June 16th, 2025. Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. Clark versus Reese. A rematch 2 years in the making.
She is the needle. I mean, honestly.
Forget friendly competition. This is personal. This is business. This is the rivalry the WNBA didn't know it needed.
See the numbers right in front of you? 1.3 million viewers for a preseason game, and a preseason game where they won by 64 points.
Did Angel Reese really go nuts? Or is she simply tired of being treated like a side note in her own league?
Caitlin Clark is a different phenomenon, a phenom. She's right there. She's proving, in comparison to the National Basketball Association.
The WNBA's evolution is here. But can it grow without dividing? Or are we watching a league pick favorites at the cost of unity?
Before the boom of the WNBA last season, like the average viewership was from 300,000 to 500,000 a game, and like some of the teams are still getting that, and 500,000 is still like a pretty decent number, but like it's only going to grow, and we're just at the beginning. We're just at the precipice of like this explosion and this like phenomenon around women's basketball.
Hit that like button if you think the WNBA is finally getting the attention it deserves. Comment below. Who's the real face of the league? Reese or Clark? Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the stats.
Indiana Fever is every single one of those 7 games. 1.6 million, 1.34 million, 1.26 million. You guys can see. And they're playing here against the Chicago Sky, against the Mercury, against the Lynx, against the Aces, against the Dream, and against the Mystics. It doesn't truly matter who the Indiana Fever is going up against. They're going to get viewership and they're going to get attendance.
A league once starving for attention is now flooding networks with record-breaking numbers. One rookie has rewritten the rules of engagement, and her name is Caitlin Clark. But not everyone is thrilled. Angel Reese, a rising star in her own right, is not staying silent. What really happened behind the scenes? What set Reese off? And why are WNBA veterans and rookies now finding themselves on opposite sides of this media firestorm? Let's break it down.
Caitlin Clark has the charisma. She has the personality, and she has the star power, and she has the statistics and the actual on-court talent to back everything up.
April 2024. The moment Caitlin Clark steps onto a WNBA preseason court, something shifts. The Indiana Fever, previously one of the league's least visible teams, immediately sell out tickets. Preseason games break regular season viewership records. 1.6 million tuned in to watch her debut. By Game 3, over 40 out of 44 Fever games are locked in for national television. That has never happened in WNBA history.
I mean, you get the idea. It's honestly just an amazing thing for women's sports, and it raises everybody up.
But as Caitlin Clark becomes the face of the league overnight, Angel Reese, known for her gritty play and magnetic personality, starts raising eyebrows. Reese, drafted by the Chicago Sky just 2 spots behind Clark, begins speaking out. On Instagram Live, she says, quote, "I know I'm worth more than what they're letting on. I know what I bring. Don't play with me." Was she talking about money, minutes, or something deeper?
This is not only good for the Indiana Fever, this is great for the entire WNBA, because all of those games, every time the Indiana Fever is on national television, they will be playing against another team in the WNBA. So with that, more storylines are going to develop. People are going to be exposed to more players, not only this Indiana Fever team, but whatever team they are going up against.
To understand the tension, we need to rewind. March 2023. LSU defeats Iowa in the NCAA title game. Angel Reese taunts Clark with a "you can't see me" gesture that divides the internet. Critics called it unsportsmanlike. Supporters said it was swagger. Clark, notably, defended Reese in an ESPN interview. She should never be criticized for showing passion. But the media frenzy had already lit the spark.
I've never understood the argument against nationally televising this team when everybody eats when they do. The fact is that I think that the Fever have brought a lot of new fans to other teams and to other players.
Fast forward to the WNBA draft. Caitlin Clark is hailed as a generational savior. Angel Reese, meanwhile, is scrutinized for her attitude. This doesn't sit right with fans. Or with Reese herself. Many point to a double standard. One is called confident, the other cocky. And race is part of the conversation. Prominent voices, from Jemele Hill to Stephen A. Smith, have called it out.
I'm so optimistic about is I think with so much motion and hype and fire that this Indiana Fever team has behind them, when they are going up and they are going to these different arenas and going up against these different teams, it's so much more exposure for these other teams and these other players for people to become fans of, to get invested in, to want to watch their games as well. And that is what I've kind of been saying for the entirety of last season because we knew that this was going to happen.
The WNBA needs this moment. After decades of elite play but little attention, the league is finally profitable. Sponsors are flooding in. TV networks are bidding against each other. But critics ask, is the league riding too much on one name? Is Angel Reese being overlooked? Or is this just how hype works?
It's only going to grow. It's only going to grow. And we're just at the beginning. We're just at the precipice of this explosion and this phenomenon around women's basketball. And yes, while it is definitely centered around Caitlin Clark and her team being the Indiana Fever, I can't say enough that I personally know many people who have become fans of other teams, especially people who have WNBA teams in their areas, like Dallas, Atlanta, the DC area.
In a preseason post-game, after falling to Clark's Fever, Reese didn't hold back. "I know y'all love her, but don't forget who I am." The quote went instantly viral. Thousands debated her tone. Others praised her for not backing down. The rivalry was back, this time in the pros.
Just think about the amount of revenue that this Indiana Fever is going to bring in and how promising that is for the WNBA, because the biggest thing about the WNBA is it has not yet been profitable in a sense that it's able to make enough profit to pay the players a significant salary for the work that they are doing. And that is one thing. The new CBA goes into effect next year and the players are going to be negotiating that ahead of next season.
Here's the twist. While the media pins Reese and Clark against each other, the reality is everyone's winning. More fans, more money, more spotlight. Players who once played in front of empty bleachers now hear sold-out cheers. Sponsorships are up 300% from last season. This is the biggest surge in women's basketball ever.
And so this year is such a make or break time for these players, for these teams to prove we can get the attendance, we can get the viewership.
But behind the scenes, a storm is brewing. The Players Union is preparing for its biggest fight yet, better pay. Caitlin Clark's arrival could be the leverage they need. With new revenue flooding in, the WNBA must decide, will they finally pay their stars like professionals? Or will another wave of talent flee overseas for checks they can't match?
The Indiana Fever might be able to do that themselves. They might outpace the rest of the WNBA in viewership and ticket sales if this preseason game was any indication of what we are going to see throughout the season.
The rematch is already circled on every calendar. Fever vs. Sky, round 2. But more than just a game, it's a cultural moment. Will Reese silence critics? Will Clark prove she's not just hype? The season starts now. The media might push the rivalry, but both women are reshaping the league. together or apart.
If they can continue down this path, and we've seen so many promising things with the way that the league is marketing their players now, the way they're marketing their teams now, the way that they're putting 41 out of 44 games on national television with the Indiana Fever. They're not shying away from some of these things. They're not shying away from the moment like I felt like they did last year, and it honestly pissed me off because there was a lot of missed opportunities. They're doing so many things right this year, and I'm so excited for what that means for the league and what that means for every single player in this league. So jump on board, you guys. Get excited for this season.